Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another video about fireproofing your dwelling against wildfires. Remember, the most important topic about this YouTube channel is to save lives. And today we're going to talk a little bit how to apply construction guidelines to fireproof your house against wildfires in your house walls, mainly the exterior walls, of course. So again, full disclosure statement. Our research team has no financial interest in the materials or the companies that are presented in these videos. This research project is not supported by the private construction industry, and this is a non-sponsored video. All guidelines are technically free for everyone, okay? I would just like, before I like to talk, I would like to say we cannot launch videos every week, contrary to what I promise, okay? I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm not like Mr. Beast, PewDiePie, or Linus Techs and Tips. No, I'm basically a university researcher, and I don't have time during my 24 hours of work to do this. So normally I get time during the night to publish these videos, okay? I'll try in the future to have a camera to film me, even if an old guy like Dr. Campbell can mount a camera, I can also do it. Dr. Campbell is an outstanding YouTuber. I love him, but if old people can do it, young people can also do it. I'll try to have a webcam so I can film myself while doing these videos. Some of you have requested it. Okay, so again, sorry for delay in posting videos. Going back to the video. So let's resume what we already know from our previous videos, the ignition locations and the verifications needs to fireproof your house. This is the conclusions for from the previous surveys, where you have your ignition points, where they normally start, mainly the roof walls and openings, which are associated to some construction elements, like the porch and even the vertical columns if they're wood. And again, there are secondary ignition points that can happen, either vegetation near your house or secondary openings, either in your roof or your walls, okay? So these are conclusions from the previous surveys. These are conclusions from the previous surveys. Please check them out on the previous videos. Everything is explained there, okay? And these were surveys performed during great wildfires in which houses were inquired on their ignition location spots, basically, okay? So how to apply this to a wildfire? So our main focus on these construction guidelines, we're going to follow typical ISO standard fire resistance methodologies that already exist and already have structural codes. So basically, we admit that a dwelling must withstand the wildfire for 60 minutes, okay? We're admitting that the house next to it can also start to burn and may not only be the direct action of the wildfire, but also a neighboring house may be burning, okay? So we admit at least 60 minutes of fire resistance. Although we're going to provide, as I said, this is going to be again, fireproof construction guideline in which the entire dwelling facade must have a fire reaction, which is not the same thing as a fire resistance. There's another movie that talks about this, the difference between fire resistance and fire reaction. But for a wildfire, the dwelling facade must have a fire reaction at least B or C. I put C because on the roof you can actually go to C, but I recommend to have a fire reaction on the roof of B. Okay, if you can go to C, it's okay, but preferably B. Okay, and also you must be a C2 ND0, which is connected to the way the material may burn. You may have like droplets and smokes and toxic flames, stuff like that. Okay, these are all according to these standards from the European Union. So again, these verifications are going to be presented. They are basically for indoor standard fires in buildings, okay? So remember, an interior fire is more severe than a wildfire. So these construction guidelines I'm going to present to you, they actually work. They are studied for interior fires, and they will work for wildfires due to wildfires being less severe than interior wildfires. But these verifications may be too conservative, so they may be a little bit, they might not be as economic as we'd expect, and we will present future research in the future with more economic fireproof solutions. Okay, but in any case, these ones that we're presenting, they work and they will save your house from burning against the wildfire. So, in walls, elements to fireproof or avoid. So basically, again, these are conclusions from the surveys, the ignition locations. Basically, in the walls that burn, they basically have walls. The houses that burn, in which the fire ignition started in the wall, it started some holes directly in the wall in which the firebrand or the flame entered and started to burn. The wall plane must not be wood, preferably. Okay, we will show conclusions about this in the future. We can still have some sort of fireproof of wood, but I'm not going to talk much about this today. And we should prevent any wall vents, or if there are any vents, they should be of metal or material that does not burn. Okay, these were the ignition locations from our previous surveys. Suggestions for the wall. So this is our personal suggestion to make the wall as maximum fireproof against any wildfire. So there should not present any vents or walls. Okay, the wall exterior clothing should not possess any combustible material like wood. Okay, easy conclusions. And the structure should not, this is not mandatory, should preferably be of concrete, and the wall place should be made out of ceramic blocks or concrete blocks. Okay, again, this is an extensive published work that we already published in the American Association of Civil Engineers. You can easily check our preprint that I'll leave on the comment box and in the description box below of this video. This work was originated initially on a master thesis from Institute Superior Técnico. You can also check out that master thesis, although unfortunately it is in Portuguese. I recommend you to check the article, basically the journal's paper, because it's in English and it's a short version of what is presented in the thesis. Okay. So recommended type of structure. Again, I'm putting the same thing I did before on the previous video regarding the fireproof of the roof, which is due to ignition of dwellings made of wood. This type of structural solution should not be used, in our opinion. Okay, this is not mandatory. Again, you can fireproof wood, but let's try to avoid it. Okay, so in our opinion, a dwelling should preferably possess a concrete structure and a brick masonry wall. Okay, this is most common in Europe, mainly Southern Europe. You can also have steel, can also be steel, but then you clearly have to isolate the steel with either fireproof coating or some cement fireproof base. Okay, so it is also possible, but if you have possibility of building concrete structure, we clearly recommend it. Okay, because it's easier to fireproof the walls with the concrete structure. I'm not gonna debate about the advantage or disadvantage made of concrete, but we are literally very interested in high fire resistance. Although you can say, okay, it has low thermal insulation. The difference is, for quick actions of temperature, the concrete has a very good fire resistance. But for thermal isolation, again, let's talk about thermal comfort inside of your house. Concrete is not that good. Okay, so good for quick and high temperatures, but bad for lower long temperatures. Okay, but for this we have insulation materials also. In Portugal, one of the major advantage of concrete, it's easy accessible and low specialized labor to apply. Okay, a structure made of steel is still possible, as I told you, but it has to be coated with with basically fireproof paints, intermittent paints, which are indeed expensive, very expensive. Alternatively, you can have a thick layer of fireproof mortars that actually also exist in the market. Okay, there are also rigid fireproof plates. They can cover the whole steel profile and all the connections, but again, they are also very expensive. And you can also cover your steel profiles with rock wool or ceramic fiber sheets. You can do this. So it is possible to have a structure made of steel and still have a fireproof dwelling, okay? But you have to have extra steps that you don't need to have on a concrete structure. So recommended type of wall. So we recommend a solution that is based on ethics from Weber 2018. There are others. This is just a drawing from them, which basically, this is a combination of several materials. Glass wool is one of the best fireproof materials. Also possible rock wool, which is indeed better. Okay, and you have to combine all these materials very clearly. Okay, gloss, we will look it up. It's important to have a good isolation of either the rock wool or the glass wool. You will have coating mortar, reinforcement net, and it's very important to have a mechanical fixing. It's fundamental for higher temperatures. Either ways, your plain sheets of these type of materials will fall for higher temperatures. Okay, so this is not a very expensive solution, to be honest. Okay, it has a fire resistance of 60 minutes and a fire reaction B S1 and D0, so it's a very, very good type of wood to be adopted. You have fireproof solution against wildfires and you have thermal insulation, so it's a win-win case. I truly recommend some sort of type of combination of materials. Doesn't need to be from Weber, it's just an example. Okay, fireproof and thermal. Oh, I forgot to say, I don't know if I said, but glass wool can also be replaced with rock wool. Okay, even in my opinion, rock wool is even better. So fireproof and thermal insulation. As I was telling before, glass wool versus rock wool, this is an entire world. Okay, I don't have favorites. Maybe rock wool a little bit, as generally presents a little bit maybe worst fire reaction, although this is, in my opinion, not always 100% true, but rock wool is better in thermal insulation. Glass wool, aka fiberglass, is less combustible. They say it's A1, but I've seen people debunking this, so I take no sides. But rock wool clearly is better soundproofing when compared to glass wool. So rock wool maybe not as good in fire reaction, although it's still A2, and it's better soundproof. Rock wool presents lower thermal insulation, so it's still very good, but not as good as rock wool, but still good. Okay, so between choosing any one of these materials to isolate your house, you're fine by me. I play no favorites. I've been checking this out with industrial providers, okay, commercial providers of rock wool and glass wool. Although there are some variations, both of them have higher fire resistance and their melting temperature is either 1,000 degrees or 400 degrees. So these materials will resist very good against a wildfire. Okay? This is very important. Both rock wool and glass wool need a perfect covering. They need to be sealed off of other construction materials. Okay, this is to prevent the housing from external animals or agents like rats and bugs inside the wall. So I'm going back a little bit just to understand it. So the glass wool is 3, and these coatings, these reinforced net and coating mortar, these all must be correctly applied. Otherwise, you'll have animals living inside your glass wool or rock wool. Okay, this is very important. Rock wool or glass wool in case may present some health concerns to the residents, mainly eye, respiratory, and skin allergy. That's one of the reasons they need also perfect covering. They need to be sealed off from the exterior, either because it's a problem, it will housing external animals or bugs, and it may present some health concerns. So perfect covering of rock and glass wool is fundamental. Okay. Also to prevent the external action against harmful agents, not only animals, but just the environment may indeed start to degrade a little bit the rock wool and the glass wool. Alternatives for glass wool and rock wool. This is very, very interesting. We call it a fire resistance membrane in A2. IFAS, for example. It's an example. There are others. It's not as good as thermal insulation when compared with glass wool, to be honest, but it has an extraordinary fire resistance. A2 is equal, in my opinion, of against glass wool and rock wool. Okay. Now, bricks and blocks for the wall. There is not much to choose. We truly recommend the two solutions that are that have fire reaction A1, which is concrete block or ceramic brick, whatever you want to choose. It depends a little bit. Normally, from concrete, you have very good fire resistance and soundproofing. Lightweight concrete, the difference is you have a very good thermal insulation, and it's very light, as the name says, but it's sometimes a little bit more expensive. And then you have cellular concrete, more durable. Although you require higher labor to apply it, okay? But any of these is, in my opinion, perfectly admittable as a fireproof solution for your wall, okay? So, going back again, this is only for the type of combined material to fireproof your house. And here you can have either a brick, ceramic, or a concrete block. On number one, okay? The masonry support doesn't need to be brick. It can also be a concrete block. So most common used is the ceramic brick in Southern Europe. Is literally the cheapest solution. Presents a very good fireproof solution and fire reaction. It's again A1. And the thermal insulation is inserted in the exterior side of the masonry. Okay. To promote the resident's comfort in terms of thermal insulation, soundproofing, moisture verification, and in some cases, for example, Spain, some structural resistance, okay? Hygrothermal, forgot to tell, also presents a lot of comfort in terms of hygrothermal verifications. Again, you need a low level of specialized labor for the correct application. You don't need a full course to apply this. You need experience, basically. There are air cavities, fundamental to planes of bricks, depends on the thickness, and they basically are all, as I said, very resistant to fire, and also the fire reaction is always A1, okay, when verifying this European standard of production, of course. According also to the European standards, most of the fire tests can endure at least 60 minutes, so the fire resistance is much more than an hour, okay? For ceramic bricks, they need a coating with the minimum of centimeters thickness. So if you have ceramic bricks with coating, you need at least 7 centimeters of thickness, okay? For concrete blocks, it's a little bit more. If you have coating, you need at least 10 centimeters to get this fire resistance of 60 minutes. In any case, to promote interior comfort, this is not related to fireproof solutions, but if you're applying to fireproof solutions, with one air cavity is more than enough with 2 plain bricks, okay? One of the masonries must be at least 11 centimeters in the exterior to have this interior comfort. This is not to do with fireproof solutions, but if you have this type of solution, which is to promote interior comfort, you would have an even better fireproof solution, okay, guys? So, fireproofing the perimeter in the walls, windows, and doors. So, again, we're promoting the fireproof solution of walls, but you still have the perimeter, the contact between the walls and the openings, okay? So this perimeter must also be fireproof and should never be a weak point. So fireproofing is needed. An example, for example, ARC building solutions or ARC echo closer. Any one of these provides a fire resistance of at least 60 minutes, okay? So this perimeter of contact must never be a weak solution, okay? So this perimeter also needs to be fireproof. So there may be some need of specialized labor to correctly apply this. So this is basically let's call an L-shaped plate with basically rock wool, okay? This is an alternative solution found in some dwellings that people have sent me in North America, okay? This is also very acceptable. An exterior wall, okay? They basically admit that you can have some sort of also rock wool or mineral wood, whatever you want to call it, and here you have the direct contact of the ceramic block. This is also possible, okay? The previous solution was more fireproof, but this solution is also possible, and you will have the fireproof solution, the mineral wood, in the interior. So this exterior ceramic wood would be enough to prevent burning against a wildfire or starting ignition against a wildfire, if it's ceramic, of course. And in interior, you'll have your either rock wool or glass wool to provide thermal comfort. Perfectly possible, okay? Old walls for old dwellings. So I'm leaving these for future videos. It is possible to fireproof an old dwelling, okay? These recommendations are only for new dwellings, as I'm telling, but you can also apply some of these, okay? So, again, I put this image to clearly explain. If you have a very old dwelling made of wood, wood is normally not recommended due to being combustible, as you know. Okay, so this is a very popular example I like to show in our videos for you to understand that you need fireproof materials to have a fireproof dwelling. Okay, so these type of dwellings should be avoidable, the ones from groundskeeper. So application, future wall recommendations and applications for old dwellings. I will do it for old stone masonry walls. It's not that different from news, but I'll explain it anyway. Old wood exterior walls with basically protective fire coating or paint, whatever you want to apply it. So expectancies after the passage of a wildfire. People have asked me, so my house will not burn, but will it turn black after being hit by a wildfire? Let's see. So post-wildfire damage, all these solutions will provide a fireproof solution for a standard fire for at least 60 minutes. This is guaranteed, clear. For these construction guidelines I've showed you for the walls, this is guaranteed, easily. In any case, depending on the chosen solution, some damage may occur, okay, and some painting or some small coat repairing may be necessary, okay. So this happens against any fireproof material, okay. If fire enters in contact, you will most likely get like a black spot on that place, okay. This is something we cannot run, but in any case, the safety of the residents is guaranteed, and when the dwelling is hit by a wildfire, it will not burn, okay. So I post this image just to have an idea. If you see the interior of the oven, it's completely black, but the oven didn't burn. So imagine the exterior of your house may be as the interior of the oven. So don't worry, you will be fine and you will survive with these fireproof construction guidelines, okay? Conclusions. For standard masonry wall, a ceramic brick or concrete block is recommended, preferably with a concrete structure. Preferably there will be no holes or vents in the wall, and the wall combination should be at least fire reaction B and shouldn't be a non-combustible material, not burn or ignite. Rock wool and glass wool are the best thermal insulators and the best fireproof materials to apply for a wildfire fireproof dwelling, okay? Well, that's all for today. I hope you guys hit the like button if you like, subscribe to the channel if you're interested, share with your friends, and comment below. If you have any suggestions, send me an email. I can reply to you easily, okay? That's all for today. I'll see you in the next one.